Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus here with a look at the opening release in 2013's debuting Kamen Rider gimmick figure line. Kamen Rider Gaim's Arms Change series began with the series' namesake in his orange armor, so I'll start off by focusing on him as a solo toy before the growing pile of fruit hats invades these reviews. The first thing that caught my eye about this series is the level of detail on the undersuit base figure. I was expecting some cut corners on the parts of the body that had spent most of their time under the armor, but the first victory of the Arms Change series is in how much love gets put into the armorless rider form. Aside from sculpting all of the suit's details right down to its diamond pattern torso padding, the gold and silver paintwork is applied over a gorgeous and shiny blue plastic. Almost no color has a flat finish, adding a touch of premium feel and helping to justify the 3,000 yen retail price. The tampagraphing certainly helps too, and all the paint apps are fairly clean and solid, even the yellow Sengoku driver belt straps. The only major flaw is the slot carved into Gaim's helmet, but that's entirely necessary for this gimmick line's gimmick. Speaking of gimmickry, Gaim also includes the spherical orange arms piece. It looks just like it does in the show, a friggin' armored orange with a hole in the bottom. Truthfully, the one problem I have with it is that while it has a slightly shiny finish, I wish the orange was overall more metallic. It's not flat, but feels that way under the wrong lighting conditions. Gaim's got two weapons, one of which can be found plugged onto his belt. The Muso Saber has a decent sculpt, but very simple paint apps. While I can let that go on Gaim's belt due to the gimmick of the line, I wish there was a bit more detailing on his sword. It does at least have the blade and central stripe picked out. And with everything sculpted there, you can go at it with Sharpies or Gundam markers or, spit, whatever it is you like to paint with. But all that aside, it's time to transform. Orange slams on and clips in 4 places, sliding a half helmet and visor filler into Gaim's mask. It unfolds and refolds easily, presenting the Path of Blossoms on stage. The first posable toy of Kamen Rider Gaim looks pretty good from the right angles. Unfortunately, the transforming orange arms result in a lot of convex-on-convex action that causes the armor to look rather sticky-outy when viewed in direct profile to the body. This could have been alleviated somewhat by, for instance, retractable surfaces on the torso, but don't ask me how that engineering would work. Part of the arms change gimmick is the swappable optic filler area in the rider's helmet, and it works pretty well. The main weakness comes in viewing the head sculpt from, you guessed it, the wrong angles, which reveal just how far back the eye plate is set into the skull. Some kind of magnifying lens in the front of the face might have helped, but once again, that's engineering I couldn't tell you how to do myself. Orange Arms also brings about Gaim's second weapon, the refreshing and slicing Dai Dai Maru. The sculpt looks good, and while it suffers from a low paint app count like the Muso Saber, at least they got the orange color in a lovely metallic hue. You can solidly plug the handle of the two swords together so that Gaim can get all Ich, Ju, Hyuk, Sen, Man, and cut up some disrespectful inves. So SH Figure Arts this guy ain't, however, his ball-jointed head still has a lot of expressiveness, way deeper rotation than I was expecting when I first looked at these guys. I'm very often biased when I see Sochok Henshin hands. We'll get to those later. His shoulders have got a pin disc, really thick disc rotation that functions as a universal joint. He's also got his swiveling biceps and swiveling wrists and single hinge elbow, and then these Sochok Henshin hands, which they open at the knuckle. There's basically just like 2 mutant fingers. It's like a Ninja Turtle, and it's okay at holding stuff, but it's never perfect at holding stuff. This is technology from, like, the year 2000. This is, like, at this time of this recording, 14 years old, nearly. And, it's the most dated part of this whole toy. It actually kind of brings the whole thing down, because the rest of this figure is way better than this. But, that aside, it does function for holding weapons, so he can go chop-a-chop-a-chop-a-chop. His waist has got a clean-cut left and right swivel. And I just knocked the sword off his hip. It happens sometimes. There are, similar to his shoulders, big ol' pin and disc rotators on his hips, which give him similar to ball joint style posability. What I really like about these is actually the range they've got, and the way that they're seated in the hip sculpt means that when this guy is standing, you can actually have them arched back slightly and give him a super strong silhouette when he's just sort of standing at ready with his sword at his side. And this is part of what really won over the arms change line to me. It's just this kind of slightly curved hero arch to the body when it's standing still. It looks fantastic, and it's way more than I'm used to from things with Sochok Henshin hands. So that was another big surprise, and very pleasant surprise. Now, he's got thigh swivels, and they cut right through the deco and the tampagraphing on his thighs. This bothered me for about a minute, and then I got over it, because who cares? If you really need it to stick together, his knees actually almost are... they're borderline knock-kneed when all this stuff is lined up. I suppose that could be a problem with the tampagraphing. I just don't really care. I line them up like this if I really need to see some kind of line symmetry. He's got single-hinged knees, which they have a straight 90-degree cut. And I think one of the only other ball joints on this guy are his ankles, which have a pretty deep but poppable range of motion. The feet are kind of rubbery, so it's not risky at all to just overreach and pop them out, but they can go fairly deep in multiple directions and are really helpful for keeping this guy standing. And his armor doesn't really get in the way, and it can come off super easy. Now here's the thing about the arms change line. I'm going to talk about it primarily here, because it varies from arms to arms. When I first got these guys, and when a lot of us first got these guys, we were like, yo, check it out. You can reconnect the helmet and fold everything up, and hot damn, when you pull the fruit off, the helmet's still set inside, if you pull it off right. And it is. It's sitting in there all happy-like. This isn't something to expect from everything in Arms Change. This seems to be more of a coincidence based very much on plastic tolerances that are not reliable, because you got this thing hanging out in there, and there are a lot of other arms we're going to see. Some of them are going to be just as solid as this, some of them are going to be a whole lot less solid, some of them are going to be borderline impossible to keep the faceplate thing inside when you remove the arms from the shoulders of the rider. And without the huge orange on him, this guy still is, you know, just as posable as before. It's maybe a bit easier even to see how some of this stuff works. And the connection that these arms things use, like, let's just grab this random mechanical banana I have sitting around. You stick this onto him and boom, it's right in there. Caption this. And you can unfold everything, and yo, you got another Gaim, but it's a banana this time. And the banana arms are actually a great example, small spoiler for another review, where if you fold everything up, and you're all like, yo, I'm going to pull the banana off, and the helmet's going to stay attached when I pull the banana off, I bet you a whole nickel that, yep, it's totally loose in there. So, the banana is a great example of something where it's a lot less easy to keep that thing attached, to the point where I'd say it's pretty much blind luck if you do manage to keep it attached. So these guys are not figure arts posable, but for a not figure arts posable rider figure, it's still pretty darn posable. And some folks are okay with these things. There's this one pose I can get out of Sochok Henshin hands I like, which is where the top finger's a bit more open than the bottom finger. That looks neat. And, yo, this guy can almost pull the Muso Saber from his side and go like, hey, Zangetsu, let's have us a showdown. Spoiler alert. As soon as the nature of the Kamen Rider Gaim gimmick came about in the enthusiast press, the one thing I wanted was an action figure upon whom I could slam a mechanical orange and watch it transform into armor. Lo and behold, I got my wish. But what pushes Arms Change into the stratosphere for me is the fine level of quality and finish on what is technically a kid's gimmick toy line. The detailed undersuit and well-silhouetted posability, particularly in the hips, really went above and beyond the expectations I had in mind from my previous experiences with double form change and O's combo change. Maybe stuff went real well during Forza and Wizard, and I just wasn't paying attention. My main issue with the toy is that at this point, the Sochok Henshin hands feel really dated. Like, well beyond the we're in a gimmick line chariot they've been riding since 2009. As for the somewhat awkward fit of the armor, I can give that a ton of leniency given how friggin' fun it is to pop onto the toy. There's a solid connection and just enough transformation to scratch my convertible toy itch. And this is before we go way down the rabbit hole of swapping armors on and off. Arms Change ended up being one of my top 3 new toy lines of 2013, and as I continue to cover the line, the qualities that cemented that statement will become ever more clear. Both fans of the show, and toy nuts who like goofy fun action figures, should consider looking into this series. Just don't pay the demented markups on the aftermarket right now if you can avoid it. $40 maybe, but 50, 60 plus? That will straight up impact your ability to enjoy the toy in my opinion, unless money is seriously no object to you. Or you're watching this like 10 years later and this became one of the most collectible lines on the aftermarket to date. Speaking of, I hope 2024 is a nice place, and I better have a robot body by then. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and while I am a citrus man, there's something truly energizing about a less juicy but just as nutritious banana.